Welcome to Redstone class. Today we're starting Unit 1, Foundations, and we're going to cover redstone dust. We're going to go over the 6 principles of redstone dust, and then we'll go over how it's powered, and there'll be a homework puzzle. So in Foundations, in Unit 1, we're going to start with the Alpha 101 Big 8. They are redstone ore, redstone dust, redstone torch, lever, stone button, stone pressure plate, wooden pressure plate, and iron door. So today we're going to do dust. Let's start with the ore. So for ore, when you find ore, it's going to break and produce about 4 or 5 redstone dust on average, and with Fortune 3 you can get about 6 on average. You can also, however, get it from cleric villagers. Cleric villagers will allow you to trade for it. If you've got villager farms or know how to do those, it's a very lucrative way to get large quantities of it without having to go mining for it long term, if you've got plenty of emeralds. So let's go over those 6 principles now. So the first principle you need to know is that redstone can go 15 blocks. So if you look over here, you're going to see that redstone can go 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I've got the same setup over here, and you'll see that regardless of which direction it goes, it's going to count down 1 block each time. So right here, you can see that it's hitting 2 here, and so 2 is how much is here. If it doesn't have at least 1, it's not going to power it. And so for these two, it's going to go 3 and then 2 and it'll work. 3, 2, 1 and it'll work on this one. 3, 2, 1 and it'll be 0 on these, so it won't work. So when I turn this torch on, or lever on, you'll see that it doesn't work on these two. Okay, so let's go to what I showed you over here. So this is a demonstration that you're going to get a success regardless of how much it moves up and down. So this right here is purely aesthetic. The side of redstone dust doesn't affect the distance it travels, only the vertical blocks. And so you can see that no matter how much you go up and down, it's going to go the same distance as long as you count the tops of the blocks. So the tops of the blocks are what you count for counting down on your redstone. Don't count the sides. So the third thing is what I call directional priority. And this is the fact that it wants to go where other dust is, which means that if I have this, this will feed into the block because I have the redstone dust connected to each other, and so it wants to go this direction. But if I have one to the side, it's not going to go. So with this directional priority, it never actually makes it to the note block. See, if I took that off, it would work. And see, now it's not going to work again. So redstone sometimes goes only upward, particularly on blocks that do not transmit redstone power, that are not solid or are considered transparent. They're not opaque, or they're otherwise immune to redstone to redstone power. And so this is glass, slabs, stairs, glowstone, and hoppers. And so you can see right here that it'll travel up vertically on these, but it will not travel downward. So that's true for stairs as well. It's true for glowstone. I want to show you that because this is a really interesting one a lot of people don't know about. Because glowstone, people may know that, who know things about redstone, may know that glowstone is transparent and that it doesn't transmit redstone through, but that just means that it functions the same way as something like glass does. And glass is the same way, where it can't go down, but you can put redstone dust on top of glass, and it will transmit upward. It's just a one-way rule. And that allows you to create what's called a diode. A diode is a road of redstone dust, a wire of redstone dust that only goes one direction. So if I were to power this, it would power all the way through. But if I power it from the top, because we used a half slab, it can't go down. And so it's one directional. So if you don't want redstone to come from the other direction, you can use a half slab trick like this and come up onto it. It's a very simple way to make sure that redstone can't go backwards in any mechanism you make. So the next thing is that single dust, and this has a long history in vanilla Minecraft, is in modern Minecraft you can toggle. There were time periods where redstone dust did not connect to anything it was up against, and times where it connected in all 4 directions when it was by itself. So side by side here you can see that we've got this one toggled to not go anywhere, and now it doesn't go anywhere. And over here, now it goes all 4 directions. And we can toggle between those if we like. And it defaults to all directions, which means if you were to connect these and disconnect them, now you see that the state of that one's been forgotten. So this is one of the more interesting rules. This is what I call diagonal blocking. So blocking is where it cannot go over an edge. So right here you'll see that it can go through and pass through these objects because they're considered transparent ones. You'd get the same effect if you use glass. In fact, I will show you right now. If we were to take this off and put glass here, it is going to go through. But if we were to put a solid block, it would not. I did that right here, but now you can see it a little bit more interactively. And it has nothing to do with the direction that the stairs are facing. I want to show you that. If you do that, it's still not going to block it because stairs are not considered a solid block. So don't use what it looks like visually. Don't fool yourself into thinking that what it looks like visually matters, because that's not the case. So right here, both of these work, even though you wouldn't expect them to necessarily. So that's it for the 6 principles. Let's go back through them one more time. Number 1, there's a 15 block distance. So the first redstone dust that gets powered, count that as 15. And you can count all the way down. And when you get to 0, it's not going to work anymore. The second principle is that only the tops count, so that no matter how far you go, it's going to go the same distance. It only counts the tops of the blocks. Principle 3, directional priority. It matters that where it points, and it wants to point towards this dust. It wants to follow its own dust. And so now neither of them's going to fire. Principle 4, it'll only go upward on transparent blocks that don't conduct redstone power. And those main things are slabs, stairs, glowstone, hoppers, and glass. And I have 3 examples here with slabs here and glowstone and glass here, where it will not go downward, but it will go upward. The 5th principle is the idea that you can toggle it between going all directions and none if it's one dust. And the 6th principle is this diagonal blocking that we just went through. Okay, so let's talk about powering. So there's a number of different ways you can power redstone dust. The key thing to know is that in addition to powering next to it, you can also power above it, and you can power the block that it is on. Those new to redstone dust might be surprised by this, but as we will explain in an upcoming video on more advanced abstractions in redstone, this is totally to be expected, that the block that it is on is something you can power. And that goes for if there's a block above it too, and you power that block, that will power it. So I could put this torch here too. Because we are powering this block, it will go through. That's how pressure plates work. You've already played with pressure plates if you've been following along in the series. You set a pressure plate here, it will power underneath. Now noticeably, because blocks that do not conduct redstone power don't conduct redstone power, you'll see that glass doesn't work. So it's not that it's connecting directly, it's that we're powering this block. And so even if I put it to here, that's still not going to work. So finally, just note that you have to power, it's whatever things are attached to. And so this isn't going to work. That no power from here. See, this would work. And so it's not about where the lever is, it's about where it's facing. We'll talk about levers in more detail in the lever video. But that's it for powering. So generally the ways you can power it are from above if the block on top of it is opaque, by powering the block it's on, or by powering it directly by something next to it, including above. All right, so now let's talk homework. So your homework is a puzzle that I made for you. It's going to be a fairly easy puzzle, and you are only allowed to use redstone dust in this puzzle. So what I want you to do is I want you to build this little doorway, and I want you to make it so that there's a 1 block gap. I've made it so you can see it visually, but there's a 1 block gap between the pressure plates, and I want you to hook these pressure plates up. And the rule is, I want it to look like this, and I want you to only use redstone dust. No torches on this one, no redstone torches on this one. So whereas if you were if you did the first video on doors, you may see that we used some torches to power from underneath. You're not allowed to use redstone torches on that, so that's the puzzle. Can you do this, powering it underneath, and connect these up, And what the we'll call it the advanced challenge, but what I would also like you to strive for is to have an OR gate so that either of them does it with only one dust leading into the door. Only have one dust leading into the door, and either of these will power that dust to power the door. Okay? That seemed easy enough. That's all we got for today. It should be a quick video. Redstone dust takes practice. I hope you were following along. If not, pull it out and run through it and play with it a little bit. You'll understand it more by doing than by just talking about it. And that's all we've got for today. That's it. Class is dismissed.